Good morning, and welcome to today's live show. Today's live show is going to be that regular live show every single morning here on YouTube, but we will have the continuation of this stream over on Rumble after a couple of hours. If you want to join, I will have the link down in the description for you, which I need to update right now. Let's see here real quick. I gotta update that real quick. But that's very, very nice because we get to talk more and more about stocks all day long. So come join us over there on Rumble. The link is down there in the description, the first link in the description there. But today we got to be paying attention to a lot because we do have a good upward move, and we're now seeing the monthly expected move become resistance. It is a great example of how we can use the monthly as resistance. But the 30-minute is suggesting that the most probable thing for today is to see a pullback, maybe down to 560, 561.71, right? Our daily expected move. So we need to be paying attention to that area. And I got to get that link in the dang description already. My goodness. There you go. So if you want to join us over on Rumble, just refresh your page real quick if you're already here and make sure to click that link down in the description and follow. Do not subscribe because subscribing's different over there. But I hope everyone's ready for a good day, and I'm gonna pull up some data real quick because I believe that came out this morning. I need to hit refresh on that real quick. And it looks like we have building permits preliminary coming in at 1.456 million. Pull this across so you guys can see it. 1.456 million, a little bit seems to be right where we're pretty much expected. And then housing starts 1.5 million, which is an increase. So you did see an increase there, and we will see how the housing market really likes that. Maybe looking at something like nails so we can see, you know, where that thing's going to head to. Looks like as of right now down 0.74%. But that is a 3 times leverage ETF. So we'll see how that positions throughout the day. As of right now, the most likely scenario for the day is for that 30-minute to go down to these areas, back into where we had previous resistance, right? And then we were able to build up, and now can we keep that as support? Okay, can we keep that as support is what we're going to be paying attention to. The positioning of the MACD is overall suggesting that we do have some time to pull back, and we are above the 5-day moving average. So a lot of these things are saying pullback. Now we are aware how this thing could get uglier, right? If the 2-hour decides to cross here and we head down to lower levels to fill this gap down here, that would be very interesting. Because we have some important levels to pay attention to today. We will notice that for the day we have actually this has shifted, and now we actually see a lower than 1 put to call ratio, which I think is very, very interesting. So for the SPY to the upside, 575 and 570, and then we have 560 to start off all the way down to 550. And the key thing about that is 560 is by our daily expected move, right on the 5-day moving average, if you will. And then that gap fill is right at that 550. So the two put levels that the put walls that we really want to pay attention to are actually at some key things, right? One of them being towards the daily expected move, the other one being towards this gap down here. So we know obvious levels that they could possibly to run into some problems. Then we'll notice the first call wall is at that 570 again. So you have that call wall at 570 again, and then call wall at 575, which actually would take you closer to the weekly expected move. But as of right now, it seems that we are seeing a downward direction to start off the morning. So we'll see if these things all need to pull back in some way. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Dubs. I'll try to see if we can help you out with that. We were there all day yesterday, and it was very, very nice. I think we had a solid stream. Who's riding the Tesla short train? Let's go look at Tesla for a moment, and Dubs, maybe I would try to do some stuff throughout the day, see if you can figure it out, because it's pretty good over there. Tesla, one thing to note here is that 2-hour might be crossing this morning if it's not able to hold itself up better. Remember, we were talking about Tesla being in some kind of I guess you would say this is a range. It seems like a range, and we keep leaving these gaps behind, right? There's a gap at the high. So something we'll look for from Tesla, and what we were always aware of was this is a super deep divergence confirming here. So we're always aware if it's deep that it can go make. In this scenario, we want to see if it's able to turn up after filling the gap, but as it's pointing in that downward direction, I think it's very likely we're going to sweep this low. If this crosses, sweep the low, go make a new one, and then we'll see what happens with this bad boy. That's the good part about possible weekly expected moves. I can go over here and I can pull up my charts real quick and I can go, okay, where's Tesla? How deep would it go today? How deep would it go? And as of right now, you are seeing, and let me just double check these because I'm pretty sure my thing keeps switching back and forth. Yeah, this actually would be the perfect way for a double bottom for Tesla according to your weekly expected moves. Okay, this is why weekly expected moves can really unlock you, because it can start to form your plan a lot better. And this is something that could very likely happen. It could even hold up better, right? We could just see it go like this down to this type of level. So once you get that weekly expected move, you have a lot of confidence in this low. So even if that is taken out, you're just like, wow, that could be really bad. Buyer steps in, you go, wow, okay, that was a trap, right? It is very likely to be a trap if we see some kind of curl up and we see this on your MACD, right? We see that big divergence, and it's more significant on the MACD than last time, right? That's kind of what we're looking for here. And I would like us to hold every divergence point, obviously, on the RSI. So we would not want to violate this on the RSI. And then Tesla actually could be looking good. I think Tesla, by the way, I see a lot of people online talking shit about Tesla and stuff like that. Like, oh, Tesla is a terrible company now. Tesla's going to go up by about 50, probably 50 to 65% over the next, I would give it about 2 months. I'll say to be safe, but I think it could happen quicker than that. But I think Tesla eventually is going to solve its problems and possibly go up 50%, if not 65% in the next 2 months. That's how I think it's going to go. So I think people are getting way too caught off guard by this. I think people aren't realizing, like, everyone up here is celebrating Tesla. Everyone down here is celebrating the demise of Tesla. And it just shows the opposite psychology of the market. Those people who are celebrating the demise are not buying it, right? They're buying it here. They're not buying it here. So it's just kind of like, you know, this is a massive move and you're probably going to see something like that. Or at least see some kind of upward move that then fails, but we'll see. I think in the next 2 months, that thing will see a 50% move. It has huge implied volatility, so it's definitely possible. Tomorrow, Powell speaks, right? Oh, Taw, now you're just Taw. What's up, Taw? Does Jay Powell talk today? No, he talks tomorrow. He talks tomorrow after we get those decisions, about 30 minutes after. We are going to be live for that, right? We're going to be live. We're actually going to have the camera on to test it out over on Rumble tomorrow. And we're going to be listening in on Powell talk while looking at charts, right? Kind of just some background noise, because sometimes it's dry and usually he just says the same 6 things that he always says. All right, Target. Let's go look at Target for a moment here. I expect at least one magic trick. Oh, God, you don't want to see me do magic. Anyway, the daily chart here just going down and down and down for Target. Now, you know, from these points, you can look at this from an investment perspective and say, man, Target's down at the 2020 lows. Can it go deeper than that? You would have to say, yes, it can. It was trying to set up some kind of head and shoulders, it looks like. It looks like we were trying to build up to that good area, see that pull back, and then curl up in it. Oh, it failed. Oh, no. And then it failed. You make a divergence. You set another trap, get that consolidation to maybe break through, and it fails again on an earnings. So you can see how it was trying to head higher, but now you're kind of at risk of seeing more and more downside, right? The monthly chart is curled down and down and down, and this does not have to curl back up. So you're really hoping to see daily divergences and weekly divergences here. The sad part about it is, unless we see it on the weekly, yeah, you do not have weekly divergence in here. If anything, it looks like to me you're going to do something like this, and maybe you see some kind of upward move that then fails. So in order for this to really build back, you're going to need that weekly to go positive. And you notice we're having to blow up the time frames. The 2 hour most likely will have some sort of reversal signal, but these will be very difficult for options because it's just down and down and down. So catching that moment is difficult. I would look at this more from an investment perspective. Yeah, that AIFF was very interesting, wasn't it, Short Fridays? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Why do I sound like a Canadian? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. It's going up, eh? No? What up, Fred? Time to trade all over the place. Okay, well. You're like, I'm trading everywhere. I'm trading everything. I was about to be like, well, time to give today's first lesson. You do not want to trade everywhere and everything. You want to focus on a main. And then I'm like, okay, chill out, Luke. Chill out, dude. Oh yeah, don't you know? I love Canadian like voices. I think it's so fun. Oh yeah, I do end up sounding more Minnesota. MSTR, we actually did not look at MSTR yesterday, and we did get data. It seems like it came pretty, we did go over it just a second, but the housing starts coming in at 1.5 mil. That was like an increase. The previous got increased to 1.35 mil, and then the building permits went to 1.456, which was pretty much what we expected, but the previous increased as well. So we'll have to see the reaction to the market, right? We have to see the reactions. That's more the important thing, because you're actually seeing nail, at least some kind of home builders ETF that we can look at. You're seeing that starting to turn down, but it's pretty cool, guys. Tesla is down by that weekly expected move. If I see a 2-hour divergence there, hey, that's a trade setup, so that'd be interesting. But for this looks nice. We already kind of went over this. We're just looking for that daily confirmation. And then really the level you want to watch out for is still that 724. Somewhere in this little zone right here. If you can break through this wick, I think you're pretty set on, yeah, we're going to potentially fill that gap. And something we might want to do if we want to go past that gap, by the way, if you really want to get past that gap, I'd really like to see it, just see that booming move up to here, and then see that steep pullback, kind of like a retrace down into $8. And then see that curl back up. Real volatile, but really, really cool structure if that would happen. I would really think that's so cool. That'd be dope. Looking over at MSTR, I think we didn't really check on MSTR, and I believe that one was seeing some consolidation, a double bottom on the daily. Oh my goodness. I mean, so the funny part about this is now we know coin, I think, has daily divergence. Bitcoin has daily divergence. MSTR has daily divergence. So, I mean, you could take measured moves and things like that and kind of be like, okay, how high could this thing get? All right, we're going to build up to possibly here. Hey, that's the perfect level to get to really make some kind of right shoulder if we're going to continue over time. But it's also a good level to break down from if we're not able to get all the way there, right? We noticed that this level right here of about 320 could be a problem. Too many lines on the chart. 320 could be a problem right away. Let's see, where's 320? Yeah, this little area in here, you see how we had the previous support, support came in here with this, support tried to come in, 320 is going to be kind of your breakdown, and then you'll see right around here, we had a rejection at 320.56. So getting above this wick and holding above that wick is going to be pretty important. It's pretty much kind of like the confirmation of, it's kind of like the confirmation of a double bottom, right? You need that to get above that level in order to be like confirmed for a double bottom with the pattern. So it's a very good look. It's just, hey, you're turning down now. You left a gap behind, so let's look at the shorter time frames. You know, that's kind of how it goes. 30-minute was able to go positive, able to go sideways, but we're not seeing that produce positivity right away. You still have room on this MACD to head down. This 30-minute could not even be done, but you did leave another gap behind down here. This is great, by the way. I really like this. We build up to this area, we get that nice and tight consolidation, then we gap above it, and boom, you're off to the races. I really like that for MSTR. I think that's great. I can hate on the company, but hey, chart's a chart, and the 2-hour is what I'd be worried about. Again, the 2-hour is what causes potentially the triple dip, right? We note that these are the important levels, so if we want to come down to that level and I have a weekly expected move, that would really help us out. But we notice that we're building up to that good area where we want to break through that high. So anywhere in this block, if we're able to curl down and then curl right back up, as this is more positive than a lot of other ones, especially like the SPY, if we do something like this, that would be a great way to go higher, and you already have daily divergence confirmed. So very interesting look. I think it's funny, and Bitcoin is turning down as well. I was looking at this, but the daily divergence is there for Bitcoin. Looking for possibly a triple dip because of the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour and the 2-hour are able to go negative here, and that means mainly we'll be looking at this because it's a pretty far distance to this low. But if this low gets chopped out, we get some kind of bounce, you're kind of seeing what's going on here. For this, and then we could drop down and take out this low, make a new one, maybe make triple divergence on the daily, though. That would be very interesting. Like I said, I just was very hesitant. If you guys noticed in my video yesterday, I was just very hesitant to be like, oh yes, we are going, like, my common sense is kicking in. I was just like, we're going to squeeze before we even get FOMC. I just think that that was a very obvious thing to be like, we're probably going to rip around a little bit, but that doesn't mean we can't build good structure. Like, we see this is all good stuff. And if we just head down to that, say 560, where that put wall is, that'd be right on that 5-day moving average. And this would be a pretty fantastic thing. 30 minutes still positive. So if that curls up, okay, good. Now, what we'll watch out for is if we do this and we see a divergence and then we start to curl down on a 2-hour. That would be very tricky, but that would be very bear market-like. Nvidia, let's go look at Nvidia. Nvidia, I assume, is getting that pullback that we were talking about could happen. Now, Nvidia already tried to hold up in this area. A little bit of a weird thing going on here. Almost like it was trying to give you a little tiny handle or something like that. Or just test this previous resistances, right? Test these resistances and become support. Try to see that upward move. So if we start to lose that, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be good. Means you have a lot of probabilities to come fill a gap or even another gap. And that gap is way down by the low. So I don't think you really want to see that too much. I think that's very unlikely for Nvidia to get down there. And the reason that I can say, like, hey, I think that's very unlikely for Nvidia to get down there is just because I have weekly expected moves, and they're telling me, right? It's not, I'm never trying to say anything that's just like my opinion that's not in some way, in some kind of truth. And the truth is, data speaks, right? Data is the thing I care about the most. And Nvidia, the weekly expected moves are not suggesting that we should be paying attention to this low being taken out. Now, we still will. There's still a percentage chance. It's just saying the probabilities are that you're going to get some kind of pullback here. You have seen a pretty strong move from the 2-hour. That 2-hour was able to go positive. So even if you head down, and I actually like the fact that we're leaving a gap if we're going to squeeze later, because you can leave that gap behind, fill this, maybe even go all the way down and fill this, which actually is pretty improbable. And then we see that turn back around. You get this MACD kind of deep, but then it turns right back up and is able to go strongly positive with a strong higher low right here, and you get that good reaction. That would be very interesting. But the more likely thing, just so you know, is you see some kind of move down like this, and then you just curl up into positive territory. Keep it a little bit tighter. But I just really want to be aware of this gap. I don't want to leave behind unfinished business. 5-minute is an SMA. Or if you're talking about the 5-day, sorry, the 5-day here, is that what you're talking about, Sid? The 5-day is an SMA. Yeah, 5 days an SMA. Well, don't come in here and be like, bro, check Tesla already. When, like, I just don't like the tone of the message. I know you're probably not talking like that, but we literally went over Tesla like 10 minutes ago for a solid amount of time. But we'll go over it again in like 2 minutes, all right? AMD, very interesting as well. Once again, another one, 2-hour able to go positive. So, you know, if we just have weekly expected moves, we can look at those really quick and we can go, okay, do I need to be paying attention to that low, like, heavily? AMD would actually suggest yes. Now, AMD would suggest yes, which is kind of a scary thing. Let me make sure. I always want to double check. Yeah, AMD is suggesting that for this week, it is very possible to take out this low and go make a new one. AMD is actually up at these levels, getting close to its upward weekly expected move. So a 2-hour pullback here is still the most likely thing, but now we see how that door is open to sweep these lows because our weekly expected moves tells us, hey, that is very probable. It is more probable than, say, Nvidia going down and chopping out its low. Let's see here. We got PayPal. That's right. We looked at PayPal. Actually, let's look at this 30-minute too. I just want to see, is this one like Nvidia? Okay, so the 30-minute is different here too. This 30-minute even is going to be hard to break down. You could potentially just get that 5 tested and turn back up. You don't see reversal signal or anything like that really. You just probably have a little 5-minute divergence here. If you see something like this, hey, maybe we can turn up just like that. Bam. PayPal, though, I do want to go look at PayPal. PayPal, pretty nice 30-minute move, very likely to try to test this 5. You lose the 5, that's a problem. You curl down on a 2-hour, that's a big problem, okay? I think this is getting to the point where you're building a lot of liquidity. So if we see these levels cut, you better hope that that gets a buy really, really quickly. I don't have expected moves or anything like that for PayPal, but if this gets cut, you really want that buyer to step in pretty quick, because you lose this level, use that as resistance and head lower, that's going to be a big problem. You might wipe out these signals because they're very, very tight in here, even though this would be considered a higher low. I don't know if you really want to wipe that out. I think you would like to do something quick here. So let's look into maybe the hourly. No, it'd still be just the 2-hour. So that's unfortunate for PayPal. The daily scale, let's look at what we got here. Yeah, so, and there could be more work to be done, but you're kind of worried about just kind of a lackluster move. That's kind of like a lip here, and then you start to curl down into negative territory. So really, if PayPal wants to get back on the bull end, I think you got to take back, you know, this level here, 76.43. I actually would like to blow past that, use that area as some kind of support. We can kind of see how we could break through and then end up filling a gap up at the highs. We see that gap up here towards 86.50. All right, now let's go. As Tesla has seen some price action, we know that it is very likely to not necessarily lose this low seriously, right? This is perfectly fine to fill a gap. First thing we're watching is 30-minute. Can we just curl that thing up? Even though it's going negative, I still want to see if that 30-minute can go to the upside. As of right now, that we have broken through, so we would assume that we could test this low and go make a new one. The 2-hour, if that crosses down, that is very, very likely to happen. But I want you to notice something. This was the unfinished business we were talking about. We now have unfinished business here and here. Okay, so we now have those gaps to the upside where we most likely will see those filled very soon, right? That is what Tesla is telling us. It's going to be very difficult to confidently lose this low, is what the weekly expected moves are telling us for Tesla. Very, very difficult, but this would be a great trap, right? Now we want to treat it seriously. This is where crazy things happen. You lose this low, it's bad. But if we see that spike below this low and then it curls up, and you see this, it could be a very, very nice trap. I got you, SR Shorts. You know I got you. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for coming in today, bud. JP Morgan did some funky things on the 1 minute. JP Morgan's been very funky, and I think this is one that's going to eventually see a snapback, but this could have a lot of work till it's done. I'm still paying attention to that 221.62. I'm paying attention to how lackluster this is. Yeah, on the 30-minute, we probably could see this, right? Left head, right shoulder, but we left behind that unfinished business, and I don't like that. Now, we can leave that behind, but if we're not going to, you can see that 2-hour cross down, 221.62, bam, we see this, nice little tapering there, and you would see this on the MACD, right? We would see that on the RSI, and we'd see some good stuff. So it'll be very interesting, but as the 30-minute stands, we want to pay attention to that probably first, because that seems positive. Yeah, it's pretty positive. So if this wants to be like a serious, like a bear market, and really, you know, minus this is a great level to get some kind of pullback to head higher. Get that test of the 5, take it back, right? JP Morgan has really struggled at that 5. Even when it took it back pretty confidently here, it lost it, right? So this is a moment you really want to be using that 5 as a good thing. But the thing is, if you do stuff like this and you fall down, then you're just getting hints that that 2 hour is going to cross, and you're probably going to end up at 221.62. And we have weekly expected moves for this as well. Good morning, anyone? No, Amazon. Amazon was not covered yet. No, we have not looked at Amazon yet. The 2 hour is what I am still watching for Amazon. Damn, that gap down hurts me, but this is where we have to make decisions. And the thing about Amazon is, once again, I can pull up weekly expected moves and see if this is a good area for Amazon to get to. And Amazon actually could stay at this level. This would be a great level to get another fake out, maybe a rejection divergence, right? But we never made that on the MACD and RSI. So when we make the rejection divergence, I don't necessarily include that once I see them at the same time. Morning, everyone. Wait, martial law's here. Hope we all have been crushing this. Just popped in to say hello. Martial law, we've been really saying a lot of these streams, like once a week, we're like, man, I hope martial law's doing okay. I'm sure he's probably buying volatility today. Appreciate you though. Thank you. It's nice to see you, martial law. Everyone welcome him back. Welcome him back. Welcome him back. Let's go. We're doing all day streams now, martial law. They continue over on Rumble if you want to, if you don't have free time or you want to participate a little bit later in the day. This is making that gap, so we'll see if this is able to happen for Amazon. Amazon can still head lower into this zone. Maybe not the very bottom of the zone, but I really want to pay attention to levels like 187. I think that would be great. Even if we can get there, we violate this little guy here. As long as we hold this point, I'm pretty happy. That's going to be pretty difficult to do if we head that low, though, now that I'm looking at it. Because where exactly is the point? Yeah, the point's here. Yeah, you can head lower. You can head lower. We'll see how that shapes up. I'm going to treat it like a scale-in. And we didn't cover Apple either, right? We didn't actually cover Apple either. I like to let people kind of ask, but this is for Apple, right? We just see it. We just see it so clearly on the 2-hour. There's no reversal signal. This would have been a random occurrence. So be aware, if this 2-hour crosses, you could get another sizable move like this. Like, what if this is some kind of flagging and you're just going to head to the downside, right? That can be a big, big problem for Apple. But a lot of things have just ended up tapering off. So what are the weekly or monthly expected moves telling us? Well, the monthly expected moves are telling us we're outside of them. The weekly expected moves are telling us what? They're really just saying, okay, we can head lower and we might have a good level for you to pay attention to, right? So the weekly expected moves are suggesting if the 2-hour does cross, you could head down and make some kind of divergence point at these levels. So we'll see if that's able to happen. Options expiration, if Wall Street has a bunch of puts, hey, they potentially want to shoot the market, still keep the market lower until those puts expire. It's a definite possibility. I'm doing great, just been taking a break in all chat rooms and chitter chatter. Hey, that's awesome, martial law. I think that's great. Do what you gotta do for yourself, you know? Do what you gotta do to stay in that healthy mental space. We ain't gonna hate on you, but thank you for coming back and checking in with us. Even if it's just for a day, we appreciate you coming in and checking in, and know that we've literally said, like, man, you know, people in chat have literally been like, hey, has anyone seen martial law lately? So just know, you're part of this community, you make an impact, every single one of you guys. You know, if Richard didn't show up for a few days, we'd be like, what the heck? If Sid didn't show up for a few days, we'd be like, what the heck? Reese is starting to chat in here more and more. If he didn't show up for a few days, we'd probably be like, what the heck? All of you guys are very valued in this community, for sure. And I'm just glad that you guys kind of have that connection of, hey, where's martial law? I think that's really cool. It might be like that next week. All right, Richard. Well, we're doing closing streams next week as well. So at least it opens the door up where if you miss out in the morning, you can come in the afternoon. I think that's pretty cool. Thank you to the 179 people for showing up today, guys. And thank you guys for liking the stream and doing all that stuff. You guys are fantastic. Wants me to see him in person. My uncles are getting up there, man. Yeah, we need Willow to tell us which direction to put our money. Don't put all that on Willow, man. I feel like we've been putting a lot on Willow lately. Hold on. Anyone trying to purchase GLD options in TradeStation? Can anyone help Bernie out? Anyone out there using TradeStation? He's trying to get some GLD options and nothing's showing up right now. Anybody? Yeah, so GLD, very important to understand GLD. Okay, this is a great upward move. It's a great upward move. I'm gonna look at futures for this so we get a little bit more inclination into this. And looking at bigger charts, obviously. Well, we really want to be paying attention to when that daily is going to cross down. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Here's the first signs of maybe that 2-hour. Now, this is very squeeze-like. Very ramping up squeeze like an algorithm getting involved. 4-hour, we see the divergence there as well. So I think there is going to be potentially a nice sell on gold. But do I think it's going to break down forever? Daily divergence would suggest that we can cut below these type of levels. But if we're able to see that pull back and hold up in positive territory, right? Anytime this can hold up, that's great. If it's going to keep going, this has not confirmed yet. This is just saying like this, okay? If I say had, you know, this drawn up and I broke through and I said, that's my time where I'm going to make a decision. Okay, we're positive, the daily's up. This is where I'm going to invest for a little bit. You know, maybe I'm just a little 2-month day swing trader. And we see this A, B, and then you start doing this and you start to form this. It really starts to go, okay, this trade might be a great one for me, and now it's time to make some money off of it, right? You don't make money until you actually hit the buttons. So that's important. The other thing is, over on Patreon, we have GLD, right? We have GLD. We have levels for GLD. We are seeing a sporadic move outside of the monthly expected move. And where are we heading to right now for GLD? We are literally maybe that high was 90 cents away from hitting a weekly expected move. So GLD is going to be a little bit risky here now. GLD is going to be a little bit risky now. We saw the continuation. That was great. That's what we had drawn up. Nice. So GLD is going to be a little bit risky. We see how steep that would be. So if this does confirm down, it's actually stating we are very likely to see that downward type of price action. And maybe we're going to go retest some key levels like 257. Maybe we'll go all the way down to 250. Right? But eventually I think gold might make that comeback. I really do. I think it might make a comeback, but we'll see if that's able to happen. We're going to have to look at signals down in these type of areas. So this is telling you the risk for the week is high, that this could drop to lower prices now. And this is telling you for the month, by the end of the month, this can drop from here with a 68% chance. Trump recession is killing us. I want to cry. You've been in a recession forever. You've been in a recession the whole time. You literally have. It's just, you know, people define recession differently. Of course, the way the government defines recession is going to be a way that benefits them and their narratives. You have definitely been in time. Here's the way to put it. Are people losing jobs? Have people lost jobs for the past like 2 years? American citizens, have American citizens lost jobs for the last 4 years? Yeah, have we supplemented those job numbers with government jobs and maybe even illegal immigration? Yes. Okay, cool. So you have unemployment that was rising. You actually got readings of negative GDP back in the day. You actually have updates now that are producing a negative GDP. And the GDP that we get that's positive, you have to spend 3 times the amount of that GDP to even get that number. Does that sound like a healthy economy? Does that sound like someone who's booming, or does that sound like someone who's probably doesn't have money, who probably isn't doing smart things with their money, who's probably spending more than they're taking in and going into an extreme amount of debt, right? Think of it like an individual person. Think of the United States government and their debt as an individual person. If you were in $39 trillion worth of debt, and then the bank came a knocking, you would own nothing. They would take everything away and you would be bankrupt. That is not a strong economy for you. You are not a strong economy if you are just going into more and more and more debt and you're not able to pay back the debt. You've potentially been in it the whole time. It's just defined in a different way. Actually, you own the bank at that point. Yeah, that bank is going to be... That's why I think banks are in serious, a weird spot, because you're right. They loaned out the money, you know? And I'm guessing that the assets or the purchases that were made and spending from that were not worth the amount that we have in debt. That's a big problem. Sid, a housing crash coming? Housing crash has already happened. It's already happened. You're just not seeing the prices adjust just yet, right? You're seeing little signs of it in other places. Now, here's the funny part about that. You are seeing lower prices in certain cities. You're seeing reductions in prices, especially from new construction, of up to 20 to 40%, right? So that means you are hey, housing prices in select cities have dropped sometimes by 20 to 40%. That's a pretty big drop. Now it's about to snap back. It looks like we're about to see a daily divergence confirmed for the housing. No, martial law. We're into moons now, dude. You haven't been here in a while. We're into those moon cycles, you know? So does this have a high probability of turning up? Well, we'd like to see a 2-hour divergence, and we got that on the RSI. I don't think you have it on the MACD, though, so you might need to make it near term. Crypto looked like it's going to go down for a while. I think you have a 4-hour crossing down and losing the... Yeah, Bitcoin has a 4-hour curling down, and it is losing the it's losing the center line. It's losing the center line for its MACD. So this could mean, this could mean pullback, but I think you're really looking at like, hey, this could make triple divergence on the daily scale. And if this daily curls down, do you think a daily curling down below the 200 is a good thing? No. You're looking at 73, 69, right? You're looking down here now if that happens. Right in this little box. Millionaires don't use astrology. No, I was trolling. Rana, can we look at coin? I think it's important as we look at Bitcoin that we look at coin, and I think we can look at coin and understand, hey, there's some little divergences in here, but the 2-hour divergence was the main thing for coin. That has confirmed. That can unconfirm, right? Well, let's look. Let's look and see what this 30-minute looks like. I want to see this 30-minute divergence here, and maybe the 30-minute can really help us out. Okay, so the 30-minute, we'll notice if we are going to keep seeing bad price action, and that is going to head down and maybe even take out these lows, well, we can see if it holds the divergence points, right? Let's see if it holds it. I know it went positive. I'm still going to see if it holds it, right? We want to see if it holds this point on the RSI for the most part. If it's able to do that, turns back up, looks like another trap, possibly. If it doesn't do that, it's probably not a trap, and that thing can keep heading lower. And that's the truth of Bitcoin being able to curl down on a daily chart, right? You can go to 73, you can go to 69K. There's some big problems, but yeah. Let's go take a peek over at volatility. Volatility seeing a nice upward reaction. Notice it's almost up by 10%. 2-hour able to cross up. So you're getting the 2-hour cross up that we were discussing with that 30-minute divergence. This is why we were aware of it. This is why we said that upward move is fishy when everyone was calling squeeze. I was going, it's just weird to squeeze when you have data in the morning and you have JP, you have JP talking, you have the Fed interest rate decision, FOMC, all of those things add up to, it's just strange to squeeze now. It's more likely to squeeze, say, after Wednesday. Sometimes any profit's better than risking theta delay on contracts, and I think that's facts. I think that's a very, very good point. And we're seeing it head to the upside very, very nicely there for volatility. Once again, I'm paying attention to 24. I think a big move to 24 would be the SPY hitting that downward gap. So it'll be right here is where we want to pay attention to failure, right on that 5-day. But if we come up to 24 and then fail, I think that will be enough for the SPY to shoot down and fill that gap. So we're watching it. We're on the daily expected move as of right now, very early on in the day, literally 17 minutes, we're already there. Okay, so let's really watch the 30-minute here for the SPY. We've been through a bunch of stocks, and we will continue to look through a bunch of stocks, but let's just sit on the SPY for a little bit, maybe talk back and forth, and watch what happens around this daily expected move. As the daily expected move is right at the 5-day moving average, as the daily expected move is pretty damn close to 560, which is right here, which is where the first put wall is. Paper Cut by Linkin Park? No. So are we thinking more higher low or lower low with divergence for the SPY? It really depends on the market, but the fact that volatility was able to curl up on a 2-hour kind of tells us we should be a little bit aware of this curling down on a 2-hour. But the first thing we're paying attention to is pullback, right? This is just pullback. First thing is pullback. We start to lose the 5. We start to go, okay, that opens the door. We start to lose 560 confidently. I'm talking about one close below 560. You're starting to open up the door to lower levels. You can always do something like this, right? Get to this level, use that top as resistance, and then keep heading lower, maybe even into tomorrow. And then JP Morgan is the savior of the market, announcing that he's going to cut more rate cuts this year, and everyone celebrates the fact of that. And then boom, to the upside. And then eventually he's probably going to freak out. 9-inch nails, that's what's up. You're like my brother. My brother was a big 9-inch nails fan. A lot of stocks are behaving kind of like, high volatility, you might call it a meme stock, Billionaires, yeah, tall. Not millionaires, billionaires. I'll just start telling everyone when I take Goog so y'all can take puts and make money. Let's go look at Google real quick. You're just in a complex time. Don't let it make you like really, really frustrated. This is what's going to happen a lot in bear markets, and you're going to see triple, quadruple, and divergences all the time. This is why taking profit is a good thing on your gut, right? If you see something that's by the center line and it's at the 5-day moving average and you have 10 contracts and you go, oh crap, that 30-minute looks like it needs to pull back, or the 2-hour could go make that divergence again. Okay, I'm going to take half profit and then look at the next day and take the rest, right? Those are decisions that will become more and more important throughout higher volatile times. Not saying this is a bear market right now, just saying it is behaving a lot like one. Google, you're going to say, oh, Google is the worst, Google is terrible, Google is awful, and it might just head down a little bit lower towards like 158 and then start to bounce with a little divergence right here or something like that. Maybe even 160 just below you, just boop down to here, and then you see that curl right back up. Google never took back the 5-day moving average either. And we have OpEx this week, so it more likely, with all the things we have going on, more likely to squeeze next overall. I would say Thursday, Friday, maybe Thursday, Friday, but next week. VIX 9-day opening up, getting a curl up here. Remember, VIX 9-day had 30-minute divergence, and it held very well. It wasn't even able to curl down, right? Very flat on the RSI, but it was able to not even curl down here on the MACD. So we'll see what happens with this. If this builds up, curls down, builds up again, you can see big moves from VIX 9-day. Wolfie boy with a big vomit, Mags with a big vomit, right? 2-hour, hey, look at that. 2-hour divergence is possible. Where would this head to? Probably heading to 45. 45 looks like a very nice level, unless it just holds up here. Let's go check on the SPY, see how that's behaving at the daily expected move. Still, pullback is the most likely scenario on the 30-minute. Pullback's starting to look like likely, but the timing of it... So Richard's question was kind of like, hey, are we still paying attention to the 30-minute pullback, or do you think this is more likely to go down on the 2-hour? So there's a difference here. The charts are telling us 30-minute pullback. The charts are saying 30-minute pullback. But the timing of this is more so to me saying, watch out to fill that gap. That's the thing that's doing it. Because wouldn't it be funny? You know, we want the market to base out for an interesting reason. Okay, base out because of Jerome Powell. We'll adjust to data. I don't know, man. I think he's got to make a move soon. He's got to make a move soon. I'm just saying, it seems to me he's got to make a move soon, because you're starting to get really low readings of retail sales. You're starting to see those spendings going down. You're having the new administration come in and not allow that spending, so the next GDP is going to be rough. When is the next GDP, actually? We probably should pay attention to that. When the heck is the next GDP? Let me see here. If anyone has it in the chat, let me know. When's the next GDP reading? GDP growth rate. GDP growth rate on March 27th. So there you go. Looks like we're expected to come in at 2.3, but the previous was 3.1. Maybe that's one of those pullbacks in the market for us. And then after that, we'll get personal income and personal spending, and that might help us out. All right, we're not trying to read into the data. We're just looking for that time where we might have to be aware. So it looks like March 27th. SPY continues to drop, and that's why I'm like, the timing, the psychology of the market would say, wouldn't we want that shoot lower right before we start to squeeze, get people nice and bearish again? Hey, people are nice and bearish right now. Look at that. Now, do you see the difference? Do you see why we were like, people are overall in the middle or to the call side? Now we're starting to get it. Now we're starting to get it. Now we're starting to get it, just like those previous times where we see these big spikes, right? This is on a 30-minute chart, but if you look at the daily, we never really, in this recent time at this low, we were never seeing those big put levels until just recently. We've gotten 3 in the last few days. But we really were in this middle area for a while, spike, middle area again, spike, middle area, up, spike. So this is what we were really waiting for. The CPC still, at this moment, has only seen one reading up there, and this is more of what you want to be paying attention to, in my opinion. We haven't gotten moments like this. We haven't even gotten moments like this, which is super interesting to me as put volume is so high. Look at this in the past and tell me that this should not be over here if people were really bearish. That's what's interesting to me. Could be reasons for that. Could be. All right, 30-minute going directly down towards 560. Let's see if it can get to 560. And that's where we would expect something to happen. Yeah, Jonathan, you had a few of them, right? We're in the once we hit another fib zone, I will re-add. Nvidia 50-day is closer to the 200-day than it's been in years. Very, very true. I think you're close, but I think you're due for one more fake out, Dubs. Whether that's a lower high or new all-time highs, hey, that's up for discussion. But I think for the most part, you're paying attention to everyone is bearish right now. Everyone wants to buy puts. Look at the put-call ratios, right? Look at those put-call ratios. Even say for probably next week, we could probably pull up next week and see what's going on, and let's really pay attention to this. By next week, you could end up at 595, right? What if Wall Street's starting to build a position here? Now, that's not a big position by any means, but we'll see for this week. For this week, you have a 2.15 put-to-call ratio, right? 2.15. Look at Max Payne, 580. So yeah, fake them out, make them feel good, even going into a Wednesday, so they hold on to that position and they keep thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get rich off of a stock market crash, right? Shoot it down. This is the psychology side, right? The charts are still suggesting 30-minute pullback, just so we're very clear here. But the psychology to me of how people are positioned would be make them feel really good. Make them feel really good. Oh crap, take them by surprise. Now, that could still be complex. We could see a big 30-minute move and still see this tomorrow, and then at the end of Thursday start to curl back up, and you see a divergence here, and then you head to the upside, right? And then you squeeze going on into next week. I think for me, it's just, building the position and being confident in my analysis right now. And as long as I see confirmations of these things and I don't see us closing, extremely below these levels, I can be pretty confident with it. That's how I like to think about it. And if anyone disagrees in chat, please let me know, let me know. I want to hear your side as well. I'm not chasing price action now. Made really nice profits on vol last few months, and I am getting in position for the next cycle of events confirmation. Yeah, so you might be, hey, your volatility play, your bullish volatility play probably worked out very nicely. Now you might even have a bullish volatility play right now, right? That hedge for me is looking pretty nice. But the other side to that is, what if we just base out here and curl back up? Well, I'd have to switch pretty quick. You hit the head of the nail. Exactly, yeah. The good part is, Martial Law, you've been around so much that when you weren't here, I could literally point out when you were probably buying volatility. And we were like, oh, you're probably buying volatility here, here, here. Google is down by the weekly expected move right now. I'm just going to let you guys know, right? We're going to tell you guys, this is volatile times. I want to make sure to be helpful. I know, Patreon members, I hope you don't get frustrated at me for doing that. I'm not going to give exact levels or anything like that, but Google is heading towards its weekly expected move. And guess what? There's a monthly expected move right below it. AIFF, very nice gap up. I don't know if it's giving it up, though. Yeah, it gave it up for a moment, but still heading up. Still 30-minute pullback would be likely, unless this thing's just going, right? We could see some squeeze behavior here. It's kind of ramping up like it's going almost exponential. You would really want that to get to potentially even gap fill. I think 703 would be great, but if you need to get here first to break through that and then see that nice big volatility come in for that pullback, right? This can, look how much this could move if we created some kind of maybe even cup and handle. This could go up from here by, say, well, let's take it this level, 15%. Then you could potentially drop from that level all the way back down to, I would say, 31%. So you can see a 15% up move from here, a 30.5% down move, and then you could break through and see big things, right? You have to make sure everything's going well, but this for the most part says, the 2 hours getting way up there. So we really want that to, while it's showing good stuff, I want it to get to these good levels. Weirdly enough, it wouldn't be bad even to make that handle right here. It really wouldn't be bad to make that handle right here. And I'd probably be going like, okay, where's that low? The deepest I want this thing probably to go is somewhere around this level right here, but right here is where I'd be paying attention, the 4.52 level. Just like a 50 retracement type deal. What about the NASDAQ? Let's look at the NQ. Yeah, you see the 2-hour looks eerily like the 30-minute. If the 4-hour crosses, that's more your problem. All right, let's go check on the SPY, just see if that thing's catching any kind of bounce. I'm gonna pull up volatility. Google now is at a very, let's just say this, Google is at a very interesting level. Let's put it that way. Volatility is picking up, so Google might be a scary one, right? Google might be one that I'm like, oh, I'm glad, you know, I might want to manage that trade. But I also might want to be paying attention to the fact that it's at a key level right now. It might just be making that triple divergence on the 2-hour. Yeah, we look over at Google. We look at this 2-hour chart. We look at where it is. We know the monthly is somewhere around there too. What you're really wanting here is not to lose this. Don't lose this, and there's still a chance, right? Your percentages are starting to now point upward for Google, right? You can go a little bit lower. Don't think you can't. But if these things hold at the end of this 2-hour bar, you see a wick come in or something like that, that would be great. But this is a worrisome one now. That's a pretty big drop. Microsoft is one that I think would shape up better. These ones would shape up better. They would take some time, do something like this, then do that. But Google is one of the ones that was riskier because its weekly expected move was not at this low. It was lower. Volatility up by almost 10% now. Maybe volatility will call some kind of up day in the next 2 trading sessions. So far, volatility getting it right. But is this just a test of the 5? Are we going to go back up and fill that gap? Are people going to shrug this off? Whatever they're selling for, are the buyers going to be able to overtake these sellers? Gold near the top of a long-term channel. Yeah, gold is also outside of a monthly and approaching, GLD approached a weekly expected move just now. So this is where the risk starts to get very, very high, especially as you're forming daily divergence for gold. Not going to chase this one even if it pops. That's right. Make those decisions for yourself. Each person has to make different decisions. Each person thinks about money differently. That's something I'm really learning from the psychology of money, right? That's something I'm really learning over there just right away in the first parts of the book. It's very, very good. But people think about it differently, so people make different decisions. And this is why someone on the internet can't help you trade, really, right? This is why you have to make your own decisions. Because we might think about money totally differently. Very interesting stuff over there. Is 560 where the 5-day is? Pretty much. Yeah, it's sitting pretty much right there, that little blue line. It's at like, it's pretty much where you're at right now. It's probably like 10 cents lower. But you lose 560, then it opens the door to some other stuff, okay? Remember this, just remember. You lose 560 for the day, it starts to open the door to 550. The call levels are higher, so this is really hurting the calls. And people are getting pretty damn bearish. This is great. Get them more bearish. Get them as bearish as possible before the squeeze. It just means bigger squeeze. That's how I see it. I really don't think you want to lose this low. Most people are looking for that follow-through day. So I think most people, because you've had 2, right? 1, 2. You're looking for the 3. So you don't want to violate this low. So I think most traders are really paying attention to that. You know what would make most traders very bearish? You don't get the follow-through day now. You violate this, people would go, ah, crap. And then you start getting those follow-through days. That would be very, very interesting, right? Because I know a lot of people are paying attention to that. Everyone pays attention. I think you see it at like every major low, I think you see the follow through. The follow through holds, right? Eventually you make a base, and then you get that third day of follow through. Of course you can't talk. I'll brag about my hedge, but I'm supposed to hold my hedge in case we see something awful. The hedge isn't necessarily there to make me a bunch of money or make me a great trade. The hedge is to say, okay, if something really bad happens, which you're seeing something pretty bad, but if something really bad happens, then we'd want to be potentially holding on to some of that. Right? I don't care if this whips back up and I break even on my my hedge. See if this is curling on the RSI. Not yet, not even on the RSI, just the price action. If anything, it's break even. So you're kind of playing both ways a little bit. 500 profit in the first 30 minutes on 1,568 SPY put, and I have 2 runners free. Oh my God, so you made 500 profit, you still have the 2 runners. That is just phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Congratulations. Good job. My side is when below 200-day with the current geopolitical and Doge background that could make short-term technical not relevant. It seems clear this is a very different market than last year. Well, that would be saying that the technicals are getting things wrong here. You're saying that the technicals aren't relevant. The technicals are not relevant, is what you're overall saying there. And you're saying that that would mean that the technicals got it wrong. What were the technicals saying in the chart that we're looking at right now? Did the technicals get it right and then do something interesting? Did the technicals get it right this whole time right now? Did the technicals get it right over here? It depends on how you think about it. All right? This says, yeah, potential bottom. This says 2-hour divergence, more potential for a bottom. So this one tried, failed at the 5-day. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It's just a failure. That's a failure, right? But it still did it. It still produced. It just didn't go positive, which is everything is fine. Did this call the correct thing? Did it? Did we get a 2-hour move? Did that 2-hour move, now that it has that clear divergence down there on the MACD and RSI, did that try to take back the 5? Yeah, technicals got it right. 30-minute right now, the most probable thing to pull back and retest the 5. Are we doing that right now? Yes. Right? You know, you can say this is the signal getting it wrong, but this is still the signal doing what it's supposed to do, and then getting it wrong. It still did what it was supposed to do. It saw that buying come in. It just got it. That was a denial there. But these technicals got it 100% right. I understand. It's been a lot of chop. It's been a lot of back and forth. So I understand. I think I understand what you're getting at. I understand we're saying like, hey, the technicals are getting it wrong some of the time. And I think this is more based on, I think that this is all just, the warning flags of what could come in 2025. And then people are going to forget about those warning flags. Now, individual stocks have been a little bit more wonky, right? We noticed Google, but once again, Google more so, I would say you have an argument for. This one did the thing. This one did the thing. It just failed. And then it came down and tried to do the thing, right? These are attempts. These are small charts. These are little 30-minute charts. The 2-hour, you would say, you wanted to see more positivity from this. This is one I would hold my hat off to you, right? I'd be like, yeah, you're right in this scenario. But is the job done? Are we just going to see a wick come in and then it's all done? Well, we'll have to see. I'm gonna go look at some other things on my other charts for a moment here while I put you guys over on the SPY. This is where we want that test. This is where we will see if this is able to see some kind of upward move from this area. Google here heading down to lower levels. See what's going on there. AMC actually, AMC's positive. AMC's positive. Crazy. DJT looks pretty flaggy. SoFi giving it up. Palantir trying to give it up. Once again, all of these things are saying those lows are pretty sturdy. Yeah, all those things are like the lows are pretty sturdy. AMD, 30-minute pullback, right? I still think this gap wants to be tested. I think you gapped up. Hey, go through that gap and retest that key level of about $100. 101. Very, very nice. Fill the gap. That'd be cool. Nvidia, we just want to see, does this hold in this area and then maybe break down again? Do we break through these levels to get down to these levels? Now that gap has been filled. Is this the goal? You know? At the end of it all, it's like, is that the goal for this? Looking across, you can see Meta on the 2-hour. You're going, oh no, this is awful. And it kind of is for Meta. Look at that, it gave it all up. So on these individual ones, I think you have an argument for sure to say this is not doing the right things, right? You can kind of see that from the 30-minute chart. When you get those big moves, you usually want to extend it out. Still not there. 2-hour. The one thing we didn't want to violate was all those divergences, and now you have. So you're going to need to see a pretty big wick here. How high up could Meta really get? It broke again and made that right shoulder, it'd be 631. If it built back, it would be in this area right here we would want to get to. Even if it got the lower high, still 657. If you build back, this would be 682.50. You'd want to get towards there. Maybe see that fondle around for a bit and then break through. This could also be this, by the way. Look how deep this is on the daily. This could also do this, do this, do this with earnings. How crazy would that be? We'll see. Now, we don't necessarily have the best things for that now. We're still above some important divergence levels, just we wiped out this one, and that is unfortunate. So you're kind of hoping a wick comes in. Do you ever monitor the sectors? Not so much on live. Not so much on live. What I was going to put together was I was going to change my watch list around. It's just hard. I like to have it in a row, so it's very, very simple for me. Looks like 645. And 20. $25, 609. That'd be 30 there. Meta still looks interesting, actually. Exactly what we need is a nice pullback, head into FOMC, which will give us a massive rally into it. And I think you're going to see more rip around if we hold up here, especially. Weirdly enough, this would make it much more simple for the SPY. For the SPY, it would make it more simple to see this would make it very simple. But I don't know, because Google's at a risky spot now. You're about to violate divergences on some stuff. So we have to be paying attention to it seriously. But this is still the most probable thing for today. People did get very bearish on that drop. But ultimately, what were we paying attention to? So if this is not at all forming, then we can be a little bit more nervous, I think. Right, you start to close below 5-day on that 30-minute, you'd be more nervous. But for this, I'm just like, could still just be a little cup and handle you left behind a gap. I think the psychology of the market would be shooting you down to 550. I think the way that we head higher from the technicals right now would be a 30-minute pullback to that 560, which you're there, right? You don't have to hit it directly, but I don't even know if you did. You hit 560.24. That's close enough. 5 days there. See if we can whip this thing back around. We might sit here for a bit of time. Could have ceasefire this week. Yeah, that's been talked about for a few days now. I'm going to do a little coffee chug, and then we'll look at some more stuff. Okay, guys? What is going to happen? Because if Meta starts to lose this level, pretty big problem. Meta needs to maybe hold up at a weekly expected move like now in the next hour and 15 minutes. So if Meta's telling us something, it's saying, oh, watch out, things are getting interesting. Nvidia can still head lower, a few things can head lower, but I don't think you really want Meta to head lower. I'm gonna click through on my other charts real quick and just look at weekly expected moves. Tesla is going to be a very interesting one. Tesla is gonna be really interesting. Amazon holding every divergence point's very different, not pretty much going to a weekly expected move, but Amazon, I think Amazon still looks great here too. Okay, so Amazon on the 2 hour, a lot different than say Meta. Amazon actually showing, okay, I got that divergence point. I'm holding that divergence point as of now. We're not able to confirm down on this MACD. And we'll notice from this area, we're slightly losing this one. We'd like to see that maybe wick up a little bit to keep that. But we're okay with that. We're okay with like one, but you start to violate a bunch of them. You start to keep turning out. You don't see this curl back up. It's going to be a problem. So this will more likely be, hey, if this 30-minute confirms up and turns back down, I'll have to be out of Amazon for a brief moment and paying attention to if I can get a better buy during the FOMC or something. As far as SPY goes, though, oh man, that 2 hour cross down would be nice. Where is the calls at again? Because we were paying serious attention to the puts. 570 and 575. So you spend all day just kind of fooling around down in these areas, or you shoot this thing lower, get people really bearish. Hope everyone's having a good day out there. Google below 158. Looking at Google. Google's starting to look a little risky, but sometimes the risky ones. Sometimes those risky ones. Not below 158 just yet. It is below the weekly expected move. You're seeing something crazy. The 30-minute. You might have to make new signals on the 30-minute for Google, because that is an extremely big drop, unless we're going to see some kind of, like, this is dropping down to give some big dude a buy, and we just see that thing snap back on the 2 hour in the next hour. You have an hour and 12 minutes to fix these signals for Google on the 2 hour. You have an hour. We have not violated the divergence point. We are right at it right now. So you need a big buy to come in for Google right now. Like in the next hour. What's the catalyst for the market to find buyers today other than Jensen speaking? I don't see it. Well, it could just be the continuation of the positivity, right? Overall, you're in something different. You're in a positive trend. Don't get it wrong. 30 minutes in a positive trend. You have not seen a 30-minute in a positive trend in a while. Yeah, you haven't seen the 30-minute in a positive trend since February 19th. Look at this. You have not seen this in a positive trend since the high. You literally have been negative the entire time, with one moment where you tried, and then you're negative the whole time. This, you're positive. This is much different. You'd have to say this is different, right? I mean, just look at this and tell me that this isn't the best attempt we've had at taking back the 5. It was a great move. We went to a great level. We knew resistance was there. We even showed off the call wall as well to prove, like, hey, that's more resistance there. And we're still aware that bad things can continue to happen. But we have to understand this is a little bit different. So the first thing we're watching is, can that 30-minute find support at the 5-day moving average? If it does, that would be a great thing. Apple is Apple's had the worst price action today. Apple's had the worst price action. The signals are suggesting that Apple has the worst price action of all the Mag 7 for sure. This is the furthest away from the 5. This is the first test of the 5. The only way that we really could resolve this by tapering, unless we see a big buy come in, is to do something like that, right? For Apple to curl down, maybe on a 2-hour chart too, right? We notice that this is one of the only ones that does not have any form of 2-hour divergence. So maybe we need to make that 2-hour divergence. Maybe not. We'll have to find out. But Google, you got to be watching this. This needs a big buy to come in. This needs a wick. Google needs a wick here, because this is serious. This is pretty bad. 161.75, you losing that? That's pretty bad. Starting to head down to these lows over here. Not a good thing. You need that wick to come in, I think, for Google, like today. If you go to 150 on Google, that is a lot of problems. That is praying for a big buy to come in at that point. It could be the area where it happens, but I'm saying according to the charts right now, you wouldn't have any reversal signals, so it would just be like you're really like that's where I'd maybe pull up like dark pool or order flow and just be like, okay, can I see a big ass buy come in? Maybe Unusual Whales has that for you or something. SQQQ, yeah, a lot of the time that's what I used to suggest to my brother. Hey, you think things are getting a little rough? Okay, buy a few grand of SQQQ for a month. Let it sit. Oh, sick. Okay. He's like, oh yeah, I made 20% on that, but I lost a little bit in the other ones, and then they all start to come back. But I have to kind of agree with you, Kalen. Apple does not look good, and I don't think it's looked good this entire time. Doesn't mean it can't get a snapback, because it is well outside of its monthly expected move. Got to treat it very cautiously, though. Apple is one of the ones that tells you early. Apple tells you early when something's really bad is going to happen. Sorry, I keep hiccuping. Where was it? It was here. Apple is one of the first stocks to show us this in this area. In this area here, Apple saw the weakness. The market continued to go higher, I believe, and then fell dramatically. And then Apple was the one that told us about the base, right? This is that old trade. Apple's the one on the daily scale that showed us, hey, triple divergence, mainly with the rejection. But so you'd say mainly for me, I would just say divergence with a rejection divergence in it. And this was around earnings, and this was the golden setup. You had 2-hour divergence and a 30-minute divergence right here as well. So all of this led to positivity. Golden setup, great stuff. I'll take a golden setup. I'll still manage the position size, but I'll take a golden setup earnings. Like I said, I'm trying to be very clear about this. These signals are suggesting that 560 will not get flushed below. These signals are suggesting that this will not get taken out. And if this gets taken out, a lot of people, but that's where the psychology comes in. So there's kind of two things. Now, what do I trade based off of? Signals. Do I trade based off of just market psychology? No, I take into consideration market psychology to understand what could happen. Market psychology tells me if I really want people to get real bearish before we see some kind of squeeze, maybe after options expiration, well, then this would be the way to do that. This would be the way to do that. But right now, we have to pay attention. We haven't even lost 560. And we have our 68% zone right here. So for the day, is this probable today? What is more probable today? Do this or do this? What's more probable? Yeah, that's where I would look at oil, MK. Anything like that, I look at oil. I do believe, was it USO that we were looking at? Okay, that did experience the breakout to the upside. Okay. So now we got to look. That 2 hour is able to go positive. That's impressive. Probably going to get a retest, but daily curling up. Not on the best bars, though. So we might curl back down into this area on shorter time frames. Let's go look at the Qs for a brief moment here. Notice the Qs outside of the daily expected move. Qs are outside of the daily expected move, going down to the key level. We got to see if this happens, right? We see it. Or is this just the pullback and we're going to curl back up? Oh, we'll see, but we might fondle around down here for a little while. That's what I'm saying. I think Google is the one that needs a buy, though, in the next, like, I think Google needs a buy in the next, like, hour. Kind of worried about it. Curl up. Yeah, the more probable thing today is to curl up, is to at least remain in the daily expected moves, right? The 68% zone, and you're below it, so the more likely thing is to head up. That does not mean you can't head down, and market psychology is telling me, hey, pay attention, because that, at least market psychology is with that 32% in my opinion. ATH says, and hits all-time high, so I think we should listen. Market will continue to go down 324 to 325, then pump to first week of April, then down again. I feel like there, and that could be the daily divergence that you're talking about, all-time high. Sorry, I shouldn't say all-time high. ATH. Watching the QQQ for market direction, buying into FTEC for a 2-year savings plan. Don't worry, I'm buying 5 shares of Google. This will keep the price up. Yeah, Steve-O. That buy, that's the one. No. Steve-O, dark pool it. I don't know. I'm kind of worried that people could see that trade. Dark pool that trade, okay, Steve-O? God dang it, I hate these shorts so much. Wearing shorts today, of course, and ugh. It's laundry day. Roger, yeah, dark pool that thing. This is what you want to see if you're a bull, a drop heading into FOMC. It's actually, yeah, it's very good. It's good not to do that. I would not like us to be up at these levels when FOMC is happening. But do you see what I'm getting at, Dave? The reason for the timing of this. Because if we're going to bounce from this area today, that means we might see this head up like this. Maybe we get into... not like straight up like that, sorry, but we might, let's say this is slow. We get up to this level. By the time we get FOMC, we pull down and then we see something bad, but maybe we get something else. So this is the area we really want to get to. How we could get there is up for grabs, but this is why if you're a bull and you're paying attention to the right things and you're like, okay, I'm going to manage the trade. If it came down to here, where would we be? On Wednesday morning, you would be outside of the weekly expected move, right? And then you would have that big 2-hour divergence. Jay Powell comes in and saves your ass. It'd be good. Good morning, good call on the dip. Thank you. I felt like too many people were saying squeeze out there and ignoring the fact that it would be very strange to squeeze before all of that. You're going to see a huge rally this week with FOMC as the catalyst. I kind of agree with you. I think he's going to, whether you like it or not, I think he's going to signal more cutting. I think he's starting, if he doesn't realize it now, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Because if he doesn't realize it now, that we're going into recession, like an actual provable recession soon, then it's going to be a problem. And we kind of want that celebration of those rate cuts. And that could start now. And then once those rate cuts, it's kind of like the sell the news thing. So here's the thing. So if he says anything about more rate cuts, possibly April, June, I don't know what he's going to do. But if he does that and we see this thing just rip and roar, when he actually does that is going to be important. It could be a sell the fact. Buy into it, price it in, and then sell the fact, and then boom to the downside. Yeah. So 423, 5185. 5185 by 423. 51. No. No. If you get that right, I'm proud of you, but everything to me is going no. Let me see about the daily, if that's even possible. So you're saying like, okay, we'll see. Let's see. You think we're heading down to like these lows? I hope that you end up right. I hope that your trade goes well. I hope that in some way you maybe if you see something go wrong, it goes well. But I'm going to say that is very, 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 very improbable. You have about a 2.5% chance of that happening, if not less. Now, it doesn't mean if you had a great position, you're probably happy about all this and you're going, hey, if I can hold a couple of runners and I still have that belief, hey, that's perfectly fine with me. But if you're telling me the SPY is going to go down to 520 this month, it's just very improbable. It sounds like you're betting on a stock market crash. And it's very unlikely for us to see a stock market crash while everyone is aware and has positioned themselves for a stock market crash. So once again, I wish you luck. I have nothing against you trying to give your analysis and doing that and saying what you got to say and doing what you want to do with your money, making those decisions. I'm just telling you the probabilities here. And if you're right, you're going to make a shitload of money. But because the probability, you know why you're going to make a shitload of money? Why would you make a ton of money if the SPY went down to 520 from right here, to next week? Oh, wait, you said 4. Hold on, you said 4, so that would be the daily bounce first. I'm sorry about that, ATH. I read the number wrong. Hold on, that probability changes. We'll have to see what next month shapes up to. ATH, take everything back. I'm taking everything back. Because I didn't see the 4. I thought you said 323. And I was like, wait, 323, that's like a Saturday or Sunday. I apologize for that, ATH. That is my mistake. That becomes more probable as we get updated expected moves. So ATH, something that will really tell us if you are going to be in the realm of right, a better percentage chance of that happening will be where stocks are positioned here at the end of March. Then we can really read into that. So ATH, come back with that if you're still thinking that way towards the end of the month, and we'll have updated monthly expected moves, and we can go through those probabilities a little bit better. But I apologize, I just totally read that wrong. I heard like 5,100 pretty much, and I was like, not this month. But I just realized you weren't talking about this month. Silly, Sally. 5 still holding at this moment. Doodling around in this area is good. It's all good except for Google. I think that's the truth of it. Doodling around in this area for the SPY is good for a lot of reasons, except for Google, right? We don't want to doodle around in this area. Yo, remind me of that, ATH, though, okay? When we get updated monthly expected moves, try to remember, like, put a note or, like, an alert or something for that date and come in and ask me about that so we can talk about it, because I think that's super interesting and we can see how probable that is. Because, hey, what if we don't get a squeeze and you see us close at 572 and then we see a massive amount of implied volatility, maybe down to, say, 530, and then reaching down to 520 or 515 makes some sense. We don't want to Google around in this area. Google's puking because it is one of the stocks. I mean, gosh, Patreon members, we'll probably talk about this in an update video. But Google is one of the stocks that was within its monthly expected move. Google is one of the stocks that was also in the middle and had lower levels of weekly expected move. So Google is one of the interesting stocks that did not have a move outside of the monthly. And that's kind of a big deal. And now if you even get a wick here, you'll have multiple 0.2-hour divergence, but you will have terrible things, I believe, on the 30-minute. The 30-minute is just going to be super bad on this RSI. It's going to be a lot of work. You can still have the multiple point divergence here for sure. You're right at that level. But if buyers do not step in here, that's bad. And Google, I think, once you read into it, looking back, you're always able to do it more. I did not buy Google. I have Amazon. But Google, I was thinking about it. I'm not going to lie. Once I went down to this monthly, I was thinking about it. It's at a monthly expected move. It touches right above it. And then we'll see if some buyers can come in. This would be very bad for Google if the SPY continued to drop. VIX drop. Let's go look at that. On the 30-minute, where are we? We are still by that center line. Now, do you want this market to get more tricky? Do this. You want this market to get more tricky? Do this. Make a divergence here. That would be crazy. Probably won't cover the Nvidia event. We might pull it up over on Rumble. How will we pull it up over on Rumble and just maybe have some stuff in the background? Maybe when Jensen's, I don't know what time it starts or anything though. Dixie bottom, okay. Dixie bottom. We were looking for the 4-hour. Did it end up creating that 4-hour in our zone? Yes, it did. Oh, good catch. Very good catch. Now, I want you to notice here that the dollar's been dropping. What has the market been doing? Well, the market's been doing the same thing, kind of, right? The market's been doing kind of the same thing. This means if the dollar is going to make a base, then yields could potentially be making a base. Then oil could potentially be making a base. That'd be kind of crazy. You do kind of want that difference to start. You don't want the positive correlation to the 10-year yield and the dollar. I don't think you want that to continue for a long period of time in 2025 if you want to see more downside. If you want to see that crash, I think you got to get rid of that correlation. Like they're going to come out with anything new in a random call, vent over. Yeah, Steve, I feel you. That's why I'm like, I'm not even excited to watch Jerome Powell. People really want to listen to Jerome Powell. People really want to watch that event over at for Nvidia. I'm more of a guy that's just like, I just like looking at charts. Personally, I like looking at charts. I think that the way people move their money is much more important than what you hear from Jerome Powell, than what you hear from it's kind of like this. Do I want to listen to a talk with a millionaire about investing, or do I want to find out what that millionaire is investing in after he goes to that talk? You know what I mean? That's more how I think about it. When you asked a few weeks back, I did. Oh, I have it. You guys think I got rid of that? Let's see if I have yours. Was it Jack Cats? Oh, shoot. I don't have Jack Cats, do I? Jack Cats, I'm writing yours down. I still have all your guys' calls. I could read through those. I just don't want to call people out if they're wrong. I mean, it's very normal to be wrong. So, but I don't think anyone's wrong yet. Let me see here. Jack Cat said a few weeks. I forecast 525.30 by end of May. Okay, see that one. I like that one. If especially if ATH, if you were saying that type of thing, like May or like a June, I'd really be into it. The thing is, if we head higher and we hit an all-time high with a squeeze, I think you're very likely to see a bigger first drop, a bigger first leg down to just shove you. I think it's going to shove you into a bear market possibly in the in this second quarter. 525.30 by end of May. What did I say? My thing that I have written over here says SPY, then we drop to the 200 and create 2-hour divergence. We're at the 200. We're below the 200. Dang it. So I think my actual assessment was we were going to see that divergence like here, but we actually saw it down here. So I think technically I was wrong, right? Technically, I think I was wrong. We made that divergence at the 200, but it failed. So I would take that as I am wrong. I'll take that on the chin. Made it right below it. So what would be my call now? What would be my call now? I would say, I think there's going to be a new all-time high trap for sure, like something like that. The other scenario is the lower high. Where I think the lower high would come in, I would say 598, 600. 598 to 600 lower high. Those are the two scenarios that I'm paying attention to. Updating. If anyone wants to update theirs, I'll update it for you. And I like writing mine down because obviously I want to know where my mind's at. TLT is very interesting because TLT itself has reversal signals that say we could do this, meaning that the yields could drop. But we also see that the yields themselves are saying, hey, we could get a bigger spike here. So what are the yields telling us right now? Where's the 4-hour positioning right now? Well, if we don't break through here, we could drop off, right? We'll see. But TLT is showing something very interesting. I mean, actually, we accidentally kept this on a 4-hour. Look at that 4-hour by the center line. This looks like TLT could get that upward move. This looks like a swing trade, but you have kind of almost a little bit contradictory things going on. So it's very important to see like what's confirming with TLT, and it's gonna rip around with the FOMC and all that good stuff. It really will. But TLT is sitting in the middle of the range. TLT as of this moment, towards the bottom side, I believe. Let me go check and make sure we have the correct levels for TLT. I want to double check before I talk about it. 89.18. Let's see that. I just messed up. You're actually closer to the bottom side monthly expected move. So we're aware another 2-hour drop can come. And maybe that's the move that the 10-year yield needs. Maybe this on the 2-hour by the center line needs to make something here. Because we saw this. We see that it's not on the MACD at the same time, but we do see it on the RSI. That's saying you have a good shot, but this looks very flaggy. So what if we do this real quick and then we turn back up and we actually see that on the MACD and RSI at the same time? We see something little. I think that would be interesting for TLT, but TLT has signals suggesting that these yields are actually going to drop, while the yields have signals that say, hey, if I curl up, I'm going higher. Right? I need to make more of a right shoulder. So we're kind of in a mixed bag when it comes to bonds. Very interesting. We'll have to see after tomorrow. Tomorrow, everything with that could change. All in on BBAI. Let's go look then. Let's go look at your baby. Baby Big Bear. Yeah, Big Bear, this is going to be difficult because you're down at these lower levels again, and the daily never got that next move up. So you might have even made signals here that faked you out, but this thing has been a complete... This is a crash, right? This is a rigorous crash. This is a crash and a half, right? That is a crash. 30 days, 70%. Where we're at right now, that is a crash, okay? But it's still close enough to the center line to get a decent move. I would really be watching this if the daily curls up. Whatever happens, if that daily curls up, we could fill the gap, turn back down. But if we get a good snapback, this area here is going to be very important because that could just be the resistance that shoots you back down, right? Lower high becomes more probable here. If you're going to build up over time, I actually think you want to build up right before that and maybe see a gap. You see that we're going to keep that line. I think you want to build up to here. Maybe see something like, oh, get up to here, see that pull back, get that gap, that's some kind of big move through this. Then you can keep that good behavior going. The ultimate goal for BBAI to end up good over a long, long period of time is you got to get all the way back to that high. So that means you have to climb back all that 70% loss. Oh, you got to climb all the way back. And guess what? That's going to be a lot more than 70%. That's going to be 243% to come in. So unfortunate with that. 2-hour, you do seem to be trying to hold at that 200. You are trying to make some kind of 2-hour divergence on the MACD, but not the RSI, right? So we want to see if those show up at the same time. So this could head lower. This is where I wish I had weekly expected move, but we see how that is very obviously flaggy. Very obviously flaggy. We see it. We drop down. Hey, we cut the low. Maybe an hourly chart's your friend here if this is going to turn around right now, right? Little drop down, little curl up. But very, very risky, I would say. But a good retrace can happen. We'll see if a good retrace comes. Hey, remember those levels we were pointing out. Let's see if anything matches up, right? We like to see if things match up. We've been pulling up fibs more just to see if we can find those key levels. Look at that. Right where we pointed out, that's where that golden pocket is. That's the breakdown area. We see the rejection from that area too. On this day right here, we broke down from it, gapped below, filled the gap, rejected from that gap fill. So now we see, okay, that's going to be probably a pretty important level. We'll notice if we're going to maybe consolidate, we might want to consolidate right here around that 50% retrace. Nah, they're just complex. Charts are working. That worked. This one, it still worked, but that's a failure, right? And it happened on a gap. So you hate to see that, right? I said that, I think, yesterday. You hate to see that. That's the thing that can really hurt you. Oh my goodness. You would assume at that monthly expected move, that would be a great signal. So I'm not at all saying anything good about this. This is really, really bad right here. What happened here was the worst thing that could happen for a trader, especially with even my strategy, right? This is like the worst thing that could happen. That's where managing position size comes in. Hey, see that drift down? See that curl down on the 2 hour again? Okay, yeah, this thing's heading lower, right? It needed to save itself right away. There's more work to be done. Once that 30-minute really wiped everything out, you're just going, okay, we got to make new divergences. We make them, and then we see that take back the 5. You're going to see failures all the time. Especially, it's just the failures are very blatant and very rigorous in some high volatility. Speaking of rejection, 5 minutes 5 looks neat. Okay, yeah. You might be a little behind. Just to let you guys know, we will be switching over to Rumble in about 14 minutes. Make sure you are clicking that link down in the description. You can go see that link down in the description to join us over on Rumble. We are just spreading ourselves out a little bit just in case something bad happens with YouTube. If I can't go live on YouTube one day, we've ran into that a few times. That way we can go live over on Rumble. And everyone over there said it was a great experience. You didn't hold the puts, Willow? No wonder this market is screwing us over. No. I don't know. I'm slightly even thinking like how Amazon looks. I'm slightly thinking of just getting rid of the hedge now. Yeah, I'm slightly thinking 2 hour chart's important, but slightly thinking about getting rid of the hedge. It's just hard for me to get rid of the hedge going into the event tomorrow. 570 was close enough to 570. That's right. That's actually right. Microsoft looked like it wanted to break out. Nice bullish MACD crossover, and then days like today wipes out the whole setup. You'll see that a ton. You'll see that a ton. The way that I had to do it in the bear market was I tried to not let it discourage me, and I tried to just look, okay, how if I wasn't a part of that, how would I be thinking of this? Right? If I didn't make that buy and see this gap down, how would I be treating it if I was looking at this through a fresh lens? Fresh lens. That was really something that helped me out. And it helped me in maybe choosing to scale in, maybe choosing to do a certain kind of decision. Hold on one sec. There's one I wanted to look at, and I just forgot which one it was. Damn it. Of course. Forgot. Freaking ADHD kicks in. All right. Yeah, let's check on Google. Google, I still think needs that wick to be bigger. I think you need that buy to come in. I would really want that buy to come in. I mean, you're still holding the divergence point, so you don't have to come in right now. But you would say, like, today, you don't want to drop lower than this. I would say Google drops lower than this, it's gonna be rough to come back, and it would have to see a snapback for a random reason. The trade setup most likely would be rough to see. Can you look at Intel? Keeps climbing while most semis downtrend. Got new CEO last week. So if something's climbing, let's see. First of all, you see 30-minute divergence, but this looks kind of like a squeezy, like building those shelves to head higher kind of divergence. So this could be squeezing, actually. And yeah, that 2 hours way up there. So you'd say the risk is starting to be here, okay? Even if you fill that gap, you're looking at 2 hour pullback soon. I mean, look at this and just be like, okay, when would the opportunity to buy this be there again? Because maybe I missed out on the 2 hour divergence at the low. Very, very flat, hard to see, but it's there. Very hard to see. But sometimes the ones that are hard to see, even if it looks like crap, sometimes you see good things, right? This is why it doesn't have to fail all the time. You know? Like, the signals right now, you're like, hey, they're all getting it wrong. Not all of them are getting it wrong. It might just be the one that you chose to take is getting it wrong. This crappy signal ended up getting it right. This is not a significant signal at all, and it got it right. So it's more just don't discourage yourself and look at it with a fresh lens. That is something I had to do in the bear market when I saw something and it had, I would see this in a bear market, I would see this on the 30-minute, and I'd be like, damn, there's no way that that's not going positive. And then it just goes like this, and then it goes like that again. And if I would have got discouraged right here, I would have missed out on the 2 hour move here. But instead, I saw like a gap down. I could have sold at the low, but instead I was just like, okay, let me look at this like I'm just a trader who didn't make that purchase over here. Let me look at it over here because we have a gap down, already losing a little bit. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, there is, we're still at that weekly expected move. We have not crossed back within it, and we do see that that is confirming again. Okay, awesome. So what would I do in this situation if I saw triple divergence on the 30-minute and I saw that happen? Well, I would make a buy, right? So what I did was I scaled into that position and then I was able to make money. Now, that decision was different at different times. It's going to be very much more dependent on your thinking, your decision making, and things like that. But that happened to me plenty of times. That happened to me plenty of times. And in those bear market times, you didn't even have like things that told you there was real weakness. Something surprising could happen. Actually, let me look back at Intel. So just for Intel, really want to look at this. That's not Intel. I was like, that doesn't look right. For Intel, 2 hour pullback looks like when the next opportunity would be there. The daily is screaming, screaming, screaming higher. We left behind a gap. We were going slightly negative. If the daily curls back down, we got to watch out for these gaps. These are some big gaps. You can get there pretty quick. And we kind of skipped this level here where you would have liked to see us probably back off, right? Get to here, back off, get to there. Then we can actually build up to here. But since you skipped that, you could even throw up and make that right shoulder that could have been. But if this daily crosses, look how negative, look how close you are to negative territory. It's a big problem. Great floor. Great floor. Big move. Too big of a drop, to be honest. Too big of a drop. Way too big of a drop. You wanted this to be like this, do this, kind of do like this, maybe a little bit, then curl back up. And that's just not what happened. Unfortunate. I don't think it looks bad. I just think a 2 hour pullback seems necessary soon. The leaders are scheduled to speak between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, a spokesperson for Putin has said. Thanks, Sid, for keeping us updated. Gotta fade every trade, sell the ribs, buy the dips. Yeah, you're in that environment. You're in that environment where you can see big swings up and big swings down. And I think actually Intel was a good example of one of those type of moves. But yeah, you have to understand. Big move up. Oh, big retrace. Oh, yeah, we're coming back. Nope, big move down. Big move up, gap down. These are big moves. That's because volatility is still elevated. It's not even like terribly high, but it is very elevated. It is above 20. Think we'll get it for INTC to flip it up for 20 bucks. I didn't really look at price. I was just really looking at the like bars. 2 hour pullback. I think 23 is where you'd like it to hold up. Because if you lose this, there's nothing in here to hold you up. There's not a lot in here to hold you up. And there's not a lot over here to hold you up. There's not a lot going on here. and we see how important this level really is. Like if we just go like this, we see the wicks, we see the support, we see the support, we see the support, like that level makes more sense. So 23, if we went to 20, that would be possibly, the daily would definitely be curling down at that point. So I would look more for that 23, see if I have any kind of curl up at 23 with like a 2 hour by that center line. Maybe it even gives you a little 30-minute divergence or something. 23 looks nice, but you lose 23, it's a total different story. So it all depends on the price action later on. So maybe we need like, maybe by Friday we can take a look at it. At the moment, the dog of the semi industry going up, will the good ones are tanking. So inverse your thought. Yeah, it's going up, and the other ones might be going down, but it's like that could switch. It's very nice that that's seeing a good move, though. I wonder, did you get it at 20? Because if you got it at 20, you're happy, and then now you're just like, okay, this is a 2 hour pullback moment, and it could pull back. Maybe the whole market pulls back still, right? That 2 hour can still drop down to these levels. I had it in 1960, sold at about 22. That's rough because the signals there were not like the best, and then you just got that major gap up. Oh, okay. Google kind of doing the thing, giving us that wick. Remember, we said, Google, I really want to see a wick from this. Before this bar is closed, I need to see a wick. I want to see a wick. I want to see a wick. And I'm seeing it. You might want a bigger one. So if Google's telling us anything, it's saying, okay, monthly expected move. If I'm going to hold my signals, then the SPY most likely can't go down right now. Or Google's going to contradict everything and start to see like a wick while everything else kind of backs off. It's not a very big wick. I'm a bottom fisher. Yeah, you're right to say that, Nat. It is not a very big wick. Okay, let's do a poll over here before we leave, because we can't do polls over there, which is super lame. Will. Oh, dang it, I typed in the wrong place. Hold on, I gotta move my coffee cup. Will, let's do this. Will Jerome Powell start the squeeze? Or, no. Well, yeah, we'll just ask, will he start the squeeze? Yes or no? Very simple question. And we'll stick on here for an extra few minutes here just to make sure we get that poll going, and then we'll switch over to Rumble, okay? So give us some time. We got time. Plenty of time. And in chat, if you had a good experience over on Rumble and you enjoyed the day yesterday, or if you didn't enjoy it, if you didn't enjoy Rumble, right, just tell some people about your experience, just in case some people are hesitant to go over there. Did you have a good time on Rumble or not? We are not switching. We are not switching. I just want to make that clear for everyone. YouTube is going to stay the exact same. Never forget transitory. You knew it wasn't transitory. Even if you just, I could have been staring at the GDP. You could look at GDP and debt and understand that it wasn't transitory. You know? Like, okay, so, oh, we're getting high levels of GDP. Okay, it's transitory, so that means it should go away. Well, we're still going into debt, like a lot of debt, more and more and more debt to actually do that, to actually get those positive GDP. Oh, the GDP is positive again. We went into more and more debt. Okay, it's not transitory. Just different chat names. I actually like how the chat looks a little bit better. It's a lot easier to read, on my end at least. There's still YouTubers saying Powell doesn't lie. He did lie the entire time. The entire time. It's so funny that they're like, our government professional expert economists say that it's transitory. But then like some little dudes on YouTube are like, yeah, this is not transitory inflation. And they just explain very simply why. And it's like, okay, so we're actually at a time where you pretty much like can't believe the government experts, and you're more likely to be successful just looking at it with your own lens. I'm really enjoying this open format. That's awesome, Jonathan. It continues over on Rumble. There's nothing, it's completely free. It's just a way to help out the channel for another avenue for us to go live. And then you want to have those notifications on, because if YouTube's not working for me, it almost didn't work yesterday. That was the crazy part. And I was about to be pissed. I was like, it's not working today. The one day that I was like, I need it to work so that we can show people the transition. And it didn't work. So if you have those notifications on over on Rumble and YouTube's not working, you'll just get a notification. But if YouTube is working, we will be on YouTube every single morning. I think Powell just refuses to make projection, just waits for the delay. Well, he never wants to project. Why would he never want to project? He's scared of being wrong. It takes a lot of balls to, you know, if you started a YouTube channel and you told people your thoughts, your opinions, it takes a lot of balls to do that. Link, please. The link is down in the description. If you don't see it there, just refresh the stream real quick. And thank you guys for the 81 likes. I really appreciate that today. Exactly. He can never be wrong if he just waits for the numbers. And the other part, Justin. And the other part, Justin. Did you forget about the other part? He can never be wrong if he waits for the numbers and is very, very slow to make changes. If at most times not doing anything. A lot of the time we've experienced over the past few, actually even a couple of years, I feel like it's been more, I'm going to sit on my hands. We are losing 560 here, so I do want to stay on YouTube for a bit, guys, so don't go anywhere. I do want to stay on YouTube for a bit while we watch this, because this is the bad part. This is where the 2 hour can start to maybe drop down, and we see that move down to the weekly expected move. We'll see if that's able to take place. That would be very, very bad for our boy Google over there. Yeah, we're potentially going to do weekly and monthly expected moves for for rum. Vic's playing patty cake. Oh, I was missing martial law. Who appreciated seeing martial law? We never know what they can do. Fight, postpone it like printing money, or benefit from conflicts. Well, GKL, I think one thing is we don't know what's going on in the background that they know about that maybe we don't. So maybe there's a reason that he's sitting on his hand. Maybe there's a reason that he's lying. Maybe he's trying to... Here's the thing. I will give Jerome Powell the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully, he is understanding that there are problems and he's trying to make things right in his way, in his own way. It's just to say, people who try to solve problems can have wrong solutions. People who try to solve problems, they can still have wrong solutions. Okay? I could try to stop a water leak by using some duct tape, but that might not be a good solution. It might be a solution for a little bit. What if all I needed was duct tape, though, and it was completely fixed? Most likely not with a leak, right? Look at the 5 minute, just see what's going on here. I feel like Flex Seal. Flex Seal. Yeah, maybe that's a little step up. But my whole thing is, if you could maybe look, you'd be like, okay, well, who does Jerome Powell hang out with? Who are the people that he hangs out with? And I'm sorry, but if they are politicians on either side of the aisle that are connected to anything due to the waste, like connected in any kind of way, voted for certain things, I would say he is more likely to be a bad thing. He is more likely to be doing things for them, not for you. Exactly, Jonathan. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm like, if he's bringing his buddies and they happen to be politicians, it's like, He's a Bezos, bro. Say duct tape raise everything. It's all intentional. They want us all poor. Well, yeah, that's very simple from the wasteful spending. They wanted to price you out. I'll show you guys not really show you, but I'll tell you guys what I was writing today. Because every once in a while, go a little nuts. Okay, so someone, it was Gavin Newsom. He put, things fuck news, hope you won't notice. Inflation up, growth down. Okay, look. So they posted this thing right here about this. Okay, so what he is trying to insinuate is economic growth is the most important thing to make American lives better. Like, that's technically what he is implying. And so what I wrote was economic growth does not mean good things for American citizens. American government has had to spend 3 times more than every GDP number to even get that number, that positive GDP. You are pricing out the American people on purpose to benefit your friends in the top 10%. That is exactly what happens in this environment. The 10% are the richest they've ever been, and the lower 10% is the poorest they've ever been. The middle class is almost the poorest they've ever been. Just on a spending point. You can't spend as much. Yeah. You want me to start to mention that, Willow? Willow wants me to start mentioning when, holy crap, why is my chat moving so fast? Hold on, give me 2 seconds here. This chat's moving fast. I think it needed to load. Something went wrong. There we go. Now I got Jonathan's messages back. Politics seem it like erased all your guys' messages and just reloaded all of them. No, they do want you poor. I'm sorry, Justin. They do want you poor. They want you poor with no assets, right? Nothing to be able to fight back with, and you have to take everything they say as gold. I think that is the truth. If we did not have, maybe this is a conversation for Rumble. That's the sad part. You know, we've had a few demonetizations, we've had a few flagged videos now for saying things like good things about certain people. So that's another benefit to Rumble. We can talk about things a little bit more in depth, but you will own nothing and you will be happy. Exactly. Exactly. Except, you know, their form of happiness is very different from my form of happiness. My form of happiness is owning a home, not paying the government, not paying someone. Mine is owning a place, owning this, owning a car, owning a farm, owning a cow, owning a horse, that's what really, America's it's kind of sad because America was really on the way to something really, truly beautiful. And then we went into the debt system, and I think that allows this to happen. And I think that's unfortunate. We wanted to see major life improvements really, really fast. And in order to see that, debt is a good way to see that. But all it did was blow everything up. That's, you know, I think that the reason that we got .com so fast and it flourished so fast was because we had debt. We were in a debt system. I think the reason that AI, you saw how fast AI, once AI came up, boom, AI's everywhere, boom. I think that's because of debt system. You need to slow things down because you will see problems. This is why I was very critical about, say, smartphones. Smartphones have caused suicide rates to increase with girls from the age, well, pretty much from like what, 10 now? 7 now? 7 to what, 30, 40? It's all increasing. What? Why? Because we moved really fast. We didn't know the human problems that we were going to go into, the psychological problems. And I think that would have been something we could have tackled if we grew slower. Without debt, America wouldn't be where it is. Exactly. I think you're correct in saying that. And I'm saying it could be at the same point, just maybe 100 years from now, and it would have been slower and the process might have been better. Doesn't mean we couldn't have ran into bad things, good things. Doesn't mean I'm correct, right? This is a what if kind of scenario. We don't really know what would have continued to happen if we did not go into the debt system. So this is all just a what if. The only thing that matters is reality, and this is what we're in right now. Where would the world be, though, without our debt system? Let's put it that way. Right? Because we're giving money to every country. Okay, now we seriously have to stop talking. Oh, shit. Now we seriously have to stop. All right, let's see how that vote came out. That vote came out. Looks like 73% of people say that Jerome Powell will most likely start the squeeze. Now, I would encourage you to, a lot of the time, the first move is not the correct one, even after Jerome Powell talks. Sometimes it'll move during his talk and move completely different after. So something we'll pay attention to are those kinds of things. And we are going to be hopping off of here and switching over to Rumble right now. Closing down that, looks like a huge percentage think that he is going to be the thing that starts the squeeze. A little worrisome when you do see that big of a percentage with a decent sized chat, but we're pretty smart around here. I think you guys are pretty smart and you understand we're outside of those monthly expected moves, so we'll see. We are going to switch over to Rumble right now. Like I said, it takes me about 2 to 5 minutes to set that up. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, refill my coffee, and then we will be up on Rumble. The link is in the description, is that first link down there. If you do not see it down there and you wanna join us live, make sure to refresh or click on yesterday's live video and you will see that link in the description, but it should be down there for you. If someone could clarify that it is down there, I would really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for being here for the morning stream. Let's continue to have some fun on this channel for the rest of the day over on Rumble. I will see you there. Peace out. Thank you, Ta. Thank you, Ta. Thank you, Ta, for shouting out that the link is down there. Okay, guys? We're shutting down right now, so click it while it's there. Actually, it'll still be there. The live show gets posted, so you'll see it either way. See you guys.